Okay, welcome to part 2 where we'll start to cut out the pieces of the shield now that we've got it bent and in a basic shape. So let's get going. Okay, so now we're ready to start cutting the basic shape. And we've taken the picture of the shield again and blown that up and use it as a template on here. I'm placing it on the concave side so make it easier as I cut. If I were to try to cut it the other way, it'd be a little more difficult to get it on the table. And we're going to hit, let's see, the outline will be this part right here all the way around. So let's see how this works. Alright, that cut pretty well. I think I'm going to leave that on here for right now. It might help give you a guide when trying to sand all of this so that it's nice and smooth going forward. But yeah, that should work. Alright, what's next up is I'm going to be getting into cutting out the relief pieces, all of these edge pieces, the Triforce pieces, all that stuff. And so what I've done is I actually slightly bent another piece of plywood, another 1/4 inch thick piece of plywood. I printed another template, and this time I glued the whole thing down here because I want it all to stick where it's at. The reason I bent the next piece slightly is so that it has some it'll take somewhat of the shape already of the bend in the shield, so that it'll make it a little bit easier to glue these pieces down onto the shield itself later on. But what I'll end up doing is, and we'll see this in the next one, we'll cut these 4 pieces that go around the outside, and we'll cut all of these pieces individually and start prepping them. And then once I get that, these pieces I'll overcut so I can actually use a router to make them line up nicely with the actual edges of the shield, the base of the shield. And yeah, that'll be next though. So showed last time that I printed another template and glued it onto this face. I just used Mod Podge glue. That'll come off and it actually helps seal up the plywood some. And I just got started on cutting pieces out. So there's the first piece that I cut off. I'm cutting these, look segmented, so my son and I decided we'd cut these each out. These 4 pieces out separately, and those will. And I didn't cut this edge because when I get it affixed here, I'll route off the side here. But yeah, those will get glued down. Of course, I'll have to go through and sand a bunch of stuff, and clean up these edges and stuff. But that's got started. So now I gotta go out and I gotta finish cutting out the rest of these sides and all this interior stuff, and I'm not gonna sit here and record all that, but I'm using a bandsaw to do that. It makes it much quicker. So that's it for now. So let's just take a look at the pieces of the shield as they come together, and in a minute we'll explain a little bit about what's going to happen next. Alright, I got all the pieces cut out. They're all rough cut, so I have to go in and clean up all the edges everywhere, but have all the pieces cut to be affixed to the shield now. So the next step will be, cleaning up all the edges and getting things sealed up and stuff like that. So actually in the next video, Before we go on to putting the finish on all the parts, we'll take a look at how I created the straps for holding the shield.